simply because I wore a magnolia flower in my hair during the selection ceremony. The crown prince accused me of disregarding palace regulations and chose the grand tutor's daughter instead. I became the laughingstock of the capital, abandoned by my family, and sent to Jiangnan. 3 years later, we met again in a tea house in Jinling. The crown prince sighed with a smile. Yuchan, you've restrained your temper now, you've changed quite a bit. Just then, the beaded curtain rustled as my husband, Su Lingyu, hurried in. His tone was gentle. My lady, I'm terribly sorry to keep you waiting. The crown prince's smile faded, his gaze turning sharp as it swept over our clasped hands. You are married. I glanced at Su Lingyu. He remained oblivious, politely greeting Li Jian with a pleased to meet you. My name is Su Lingyu. Li Jian remained silent. His brows furrowed, a hint of irritation visible. Over the years, his self-control had deteriorated. Getting angry over such a minor matter was unbecoming of the crown prince who kept his emotions in check. Li Jian clearly intended to leave Su Lingyu hanging, but I couldn't bear to see him embarrassed. Husband. This official surnamed Li is an old friend from the capital. Su Lingyu's lips curved. I see. When Xiao Chan and I married 3 years ago, it coincided with the mourning period. The wedding was simple, and we didn't send word to the capital, since Lord Li is Xiao Chan's old friend yet didn't attend our wedding banquet. Why not come to our home for a welcome feast? I protested. Husband, Lord Li has urgent matters. Agreed. Li Jian accepted without hesitation. I was taken aback. Lifting my gaze, I met Li Jian's eyes, a look of complex, inscrutable determination, tinged with a quiet certainty. Of course, I wouldn't interpret this as any personal interest in me. After all, the scene from the imperial selection 3 years ago remained vivid in my memory. Back then, I relied on my privileged background. My aunt was the empress. I was the crown prince's childhood sweetheart, spoiled and willful, treating the crown princess position as mine for the taking, forcing many rivals to withdraw. But during the selection, the crown prince chose the grand tutor's daughter instead, citing my defiance of palace rules by wearing a magnolia hairpin. I wept as I asked Li Jian if he had some hidden reason. He sighed. Yuchan, you're so intelligent, you should understand I only see you as a sister. Little Chan? Su Lingyu's voice reached my ear. I turned my head. Su Lingyu smiled. Let's go home. Only 3 people attended the welcome banquet. I doubted Li Jian had ever been to such a meager gathering in his life. Even when he'd gone incognito to drink and discuss philosophy with scholars from humble backgrounds, there had always been dozens present. Sure enough, the look he shot my way grew colder and colder. Has Magistrate Su resided in Jinling for generations? Did he pass the imperial examinations? How did he come to know Yuchan? Su Lingyu answered, our ancestors made their living in Jiangdu. Later, my grandfather secured a post in Jinling, so the entire family moved here. He passed the imperial examinations in the 11th year of the Tianqing era. When he mentioned me, Su Lingyu's face flushed, a rare sight. He mumbled vaguely, Xiao Chan and I were destined to be together. Crash. The wine cup shattered at the sound. Li Jian clenched the shards in his palm, blood seeping through his fingers. He lifted his eyelids. Is that so? I found it hard to bear listening and was about to retort. But Su Lingyu's palm pressed against the back of my hand. He whispered, Lord Li is injured. Go fetch some wound medicine. Li Jian was the crown prince. With his status, every inch of his body was more precious than that of commoners. How could he possibly allow his palm to bleed? I nodded. But I deliberately lingered in the room for a long time. By the time I returned to the banquet with the wound medicine and gauze, Su Lingyu had already been drunk by Li Jian. In the moonlight, his eyes were hazy with drunkenness. Xiao Chan, how could you drink so much? I helped Su Lingyu up. He chuckled muffledly in my ear. I hit it off with brotherly. Had a few extra cups. He was truly drunk. Calling out Xiao Chan twice more in my ear. It sent a tingling sensation through me. Only then did I notice Su Lingyu had switched from addressing Li Jian as lordly to brotherly. Instinctively lifting my gaze. Our eyes met. My husband is drunk. I'll escort him back to our quarters. We'll excuse ourselves for now. Li Du stared at me intently. As I supported Su Lingyu past him, I suddenly stumbled. Li Jian caught my forearm. His palm was scorching hot. He spoke his first words to me that night. Yu Chan. This is the man you married behind my back. How dare he? I looked at Li Jian in puzzlement. The only reason I could think of for his anger was, when we were children, he had pounded his chest, vowing to find me the finest husband in all the land. He likely felt Su Lingyu wasn't good enough, unworthy of his sister. After all, Su Lingyu's family background wasn't distinguished enough. He held only a minor magistrate's position, lived in a modest 3-courtyard residence in Jinling, and had barely 2 or 3 maids to attend him. So I shook off Li Jian's grip, poured wound medicine from my sleeve pouch, and explained, Your Excellency, he is good, pure and kind-hearted, truly the finest husband in all the world. Li Jian dismissed this answer. He flicked his wrist, and a shadow guard appeared, snatching Su Lingyu from my grasp. In the garden, only Li Jian and I remained. His voice was hushed, laced with fury. Xia Yuchan, you vanished without a word 3 years ago. Now you toy with my life's greatest commitment? Do you still think you're a child? Or do you hope this trick will make me regret? I stood stunned for a long moment before comprehending Li Jian's fury. Those nearly forgotten memories surged back. 3 years ago, Li Jian abandoned me, choosing the Grand Tutor's daughter as crown princess. He personally consulted the Imperial Astronomical Bureau for an auspicious date, while the Ministry of Rites bustled with preparations for the crown prince's wedding. And I became the laughingstock of the capital. People pointed and whispered, that girl would do anything to be crown princess, even throw away her dignity, and she still didn't get it. How could the crown prince ever marry someone like her? My cousin wept. Now Sister Yuchan has ruined the reputation of all the Xia family daughters. What will become of us? Father sighed. Yuchan, I've written to your maternal grandfather. Depart for Jinling tomorrow. That day, kneeling in father's study, my heart turned to ice. I knew the Xia family had abandoned me. For 8 years, I pursued Li Jian with all my passion. When he disliked demure maidens, I cast aside the Xia family's embroidery traditions and followed him, learning to ride and shoot arrows. When he favored straightforward women, I laid bare all my thoughts. Everyone knew my feelings for Li Jian, yet he married another as crown prince consort. Given the Xia family's principles, they would never allow their legitimate daughter to become a secondary consort. To preserve the Xia family's reputation, they sent me far away. But to Li Jian, this amounted to only 4 words. Departing without notice. Fortunately, I am no longer that Xia Yuchan whose heart and eyes were solely for Li Jian. He has his beloved wife and beautiful concubines. I have my own perfect husband. I took a step back, offering him a polite, distant smile. Your Highness misunderstands. You must have important business in Jinling. You needn't concern yourself with me, I'm quite well. Li Jian stared at me steadily, then swept his sleeves and left. Very well. Given Li Jian's temperament, this would surely be our last meeting. So when Su Lingyu suggested taking me out on a boat the next day, I didn't suspect a thing. As a magistrate, he disliked lingering in the government offices. Days prior, he'd mentioned spring had arrived and he intended to inspect the locks along the Qinhuai River. Any neglected ones would be documented for timely repairs. I never imagined a boat would be waiting by the riverbank, with a handsome man standing on the deck, hands behind his back. Su Lingyu called out from afar, brotherly. He turned his face. A distant gaze swept over Su Lingyu, then lightly settled on my face. Li Jian nodded, brother Su. Yu Chan. I was somewhat surprised. Since Li Jian was traveling incognito on an inspection tour, I had concealed his identity from Su Lingyu at the tea house. But didn't he have important matters to attend to? Why wasn't he investigating those high officials? Engaging them in polite conversation? Why was he following Su Lingyu instead? Little Chan. Come. Su Lingyu stepped onto the deck first, extending his hand to me. He explained. Brother Li says he knows people in the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of Revenue. He wants to come along. So let him see. What if he holds the key to resolving Jinling's flooding crisis? Shall we board? Refusing would only fuel suspicion, as if I harbored ill will toward Li Jian, avoiding him like a guilty thief. I placed my fingertips on Su Lingyu's palm and agreed, true enough. The officials would surely show him some courtesy. Once aboard, I noticed Li Jian had brought a beautiful concubine. She introduced herself as Luo Luo, outgoing and spirited. She guided me to a seat, eyeing Su Lingyu and me with curiosity. I hit it off with sister yesterday. I begged the official all night. He finally agreed to bring me out. Sister, you must tell me all about Jinling City. Oh, and I heard Jiming Temple is very sacred. Master Su said he and my sister were destined to be together. Did you two meet there? Luolua's eyes sparkled with intelligence. Watching her, I felt a strange sense of disorientation. No. We met at the Western Queen Mother Temple on the outskirts of the capital. We saw each other at our lowest points. And that's how we pledged our lives to each other. After arriving in Jinling, our elders arranged our marriage. Luo Luo let out a soft gasp. Following her gaze, I saw blood seeping from Li Jian's palm once more. Your Excellency. Li Jian blocked Luo Luo's outstretched hand, his lips curling slightly. Yu Chan, you still have a childish heart. Speaking in anger or acting recklessly is one thing, but treating such a momentous matter as child's play. I retorted. It's no child's play. It's my 3 lifetimes good fortune. Su Lingyu composed himself, about to speak, but I pressed his hand and shook my head. It's unnecessary. I needn't tell Li Jian that 3 years ago, my reputation was so tarnished my father sent me away from the capital without luggage or guards. I needn't explain encountering bandits. Nor was there any need to explain that what bound Su Lingyu and me was far more than a simple betrothal arranged by elders. Su Lingyu turned and took my hand. His usually gentle eyes flashed with displeasure. Brother Li, you wish to see the sluice gates? Look. The sluice gates of the Qinhuai River were choked with river weeds. Li Jian stood at the bow, asking, why haven't they been cleared? The magistrate's office lacks manpower. Su Lingyu crouched down, scanning the distant riverbank. This year's new tax system requires households previously performing corvée labor to pay silver instead. To clear the silt, we must hire additional laborers to spend the silver. We need approval from Yingtian Prefecture. In the end, it all comes down to silver. Su Lingyu sighed again. Jinling has been suffering from internal flooding for years. The officials in Yingtian Prefecture say both the government and the people have grown accustomed to it. The sluice gates didn't break this year, they break year after year. Repairing them would cost 5,000 taels of silver. Since Yingtian Prefecture won't provide the funds, everyone will just have to get more accustomed to it. I watched Su Lingyu, standing beside Li Jian. He didn't exactly exude dignity, yet my gaze stuck to him, unable to look away. Half his forearm plunged into the river as he scooped up a handful of water plants, then flung a splash of water. His face was etched with worry. Last summer brought little rain, and autumn too was dry. He feared this summer would bring catastrophic downpours. The Yangtze would swell, its waters flooding back into the Qinhuai. If the sluice wasn't repaired, Who knew how much damage the merchants along both banks would suffer? Seeing Su Lingyu like this, I couldn't help but step forward. But suddenly, a powerful force struck from behind. I was pushed into the water. Then I saw Luo Luo's arm, which had just retracted, followed by her own splash as she plunged into the water. I was about to cry out for help, when someone on the deck leaped into the river. Bodies bobbed and sank in the water. A faint sigh reached my ears. He gripped my waist, pulling me upstream toward the riverbank. What was he shouting? Chan. The chill of early spring lingered. I caught a cold from the water and ran a fever that day. In my dream, I returned to the day I left the capital. The imperial tutor came to see me off at the short pavilion. He said he came on orders, bearing words for me. First, the Xie family has expunged your name from the clan registry. Henceforth, there is no Miss Yu Chan in this world. You must take care of yourself. Second, Miss Xia, you have lost. I nearly guessed it instantly. He served the future crown princess. In our youth, we both entered the palace to serve as reading companions for the princess. I was spoiled and restless, unable to focus on my studies. The princess once held her hand, saying she wanted her to be her sister-in-law. I grew angry, as I often did, brandishing my little horsewhip to threaten her into backing down. She said, Xia Yu-chan, if I say one word, you lose. I was foolish. Go ahead. Say it. So she slashed her own palm with a dagger, seized my whip, and declared, Miss Xia, rest assured, I shall never set foot in the palace again. This scene was witnessed by the emperor and empress. My position as companion reader was revoked. I was confined at home for half a year. Li Jian visited me once. He said, I know what kind of person Yu-chan is. Yu-chan needn't heed others. So after my confinement ended, I remained as domineering as ever, and Li Jian continued to indulge me as usual. At the snow-swept pavilion on the outskirts of the capital, I finally understood I was merely the target Li Jian had set up for his beloved. That day was fortuitous. After the imperial tutor departed, I encountered bandits. Protected by my personal maid, I fled into the Queen Mother of the West Temple, where I stumbled upon Su Lingyu, equally battered, his face bruised and swollen. That wretched soul had passed the imperial examinations. Yet before entering the Hanlin Academy, he offended someone. Framed, he was brutally beaten and banished back to his hometown. Fresh from narrow escape, still shaken and fearful, I redirected my resentment toward both myself and Li Jian onto Su Lingyu. Frustrated beyond words, you good for nothing. How could you let others bully you like that? Let's fight our way back to the capital. Su Lingyu smiled, Miss. Misfortune and fortune are two sides of the same coin. The capital is splendid, but Jinling may hold its own charms. You've never been to Jinling, have you? Jinling's lakes and mountains are breathtaking. Wake up to the sight of boats gliding along the Qinhuai River. The constant calls of vendors. 2 copper coins can buy you a roasted duck. If you ever come, I'll host you. Whenever Su Lingyu spoke of Jinling, his voice softened, so tender it brought tears to my eyes. With no one left for me in the capital, I had no choice but to follow my father's arrangements. To my maternal grandfather's home in Jinling. Our second meeting came when I sought him out. My grandfather was gravely ill, and before passing, he wished to see me settled. But of my 2 cousins, one was already betrothed. The other was a womanizer. I approached Su Lingyu and asked, Su Lingyu, if you have no one in your heart, would you marry me? My grandfather is very ill. We can set 3 conditions. No more than 3 years. Once my grandfather passes peacefully, we'll divorce. You'll receive half my dowry, and then you may marry whomever you wish. Su Lingyu asked in surprise, why me? Miss Xia, You must tell me your reasons before I can decide whether to agree. I gazed into Su Lingyu's eyes. A sharp sting in my nose. Hiding Li Jian's identity. I told him, I once had a beloved. At the end of this dream. Sometimes it was Li Jian. Sometimes Su Lingyu. One towered above me, Yu Chan. Come here. One was tender as water, little Chan. Right here. Dreaming such things in my days. I despised myself. When I married Su Lingyu, I told myself the past was gone. Xia Yu Chan no longer existed in this world. So I would be Xiao Chan well. So when I opened my eyes and saw Su Lingyu watching over me, I reached out and touched his stubble. He startled awake. Xiao Chan. Medicine warmed on the stove. Su Lingyu brought the bowl. He said after I fell into the water that day. My head struck a rock, leaving me unconscious for 3 days straight. Does your head hurt now? Feeling nauseous? Do you know who I am? I know. I drank the medicine, then wickedly leaned in to feed it to Su Lingyu, clinging to him. Su Lingyu. Is it bitter? Su Lingyu chuckled again, muffled, and I trembled in his embrace. Not bitter. I adored the way Su Lingyu smiled, that gentle, warm smile like April breezes and August nights. I stole another kiss, tilting my head back to touch his lips. Truthfully, when we first married, he treated me with formal reserve. After all, we had an agreement. Later, one night, I got drunk at my grandfather's grave. Su Lingyu came looking for me in the dead of night to take me home. I threw a tantrum, refusing to leave, and said some awful things. Su Lingyu, who do you think you are? Bossing me around? Get lost. Su Lingyu froze for a moment, then turned and walked away. So I hugged my grandfather's tombstone and cried even harder. But he hadn't gone far. He returned, somehow fetching a thin blanket to cover me, along with a plate of snacks to accompany the alcohol. We sat by my grandfather's grave all night. I no longer recall what we said that night, only that the moon was perfectly round. I lingered in Su Lingyu's embrace for a while. He combed my hair with his fingertips, seeming to want to say something but holding back. Xiao Chan. Is he the person you told me about before? Yes. Illness strikes like a mountain collapsing. Recovery is as slow as drawing silk. Su Lingyu cared for me for 2 more days before I sent him off to his duties. During this time, Li Jian tried to see me several times. I refused every time. What was there to see? Now, even facing Li Jian, I could barely string 2 words together. My memories of youth felt too distant. All I wanted was to carefully tend to my present life. Fortunately, Li Jian is a man of dignity. After 3 attempts, he stopped pursuing the matter. Then, on the eve of the Shaanxi festival, a heavy rain fell. Su Lingyu didn't return home. Tian, the foreman who worked with Su Lingyu at the magistrate's office, rushed through the storm to my house with news. His eyes were filled with urgency. Sister-in-law, pack your things quickly. Come with me. Brother Su has been arrested. I hurriedly ushered Tian inside, instructing my maidservant to gather Su Lingyu's clothes and bedding while pouring him a cup of hot tea. I pressed him for details. Tian spoke in cryptic terms. Brother Su embezzled funds and was caught red-handed by the imperial inspector on his southern tour. Sister-in-law, just grab a few changes of undergarments. There's no time. Tian's urging threw me into a panic. Without pausing to think, I grabbed the bundle the maid had packed and climbed into the carriage, not even asking where we were headed. Only one thought occupied my mind. Impossible. I trusted Su Lingyu implicitly. He'd rather starve or freeze than touch a single coin belonging to the people. This must be a grave injustice. I must clear his name. My resolve was set. But the carriage didn't head toward Yingtian Prefecture's prison. It stopped before an old mansion in the bustling market district. Band 2 dismounted and knocked on the door. He ushered me inside. We've bought Brother Su some time. You go in first. I entered the mansion. Li Jian stood beneath the eaves, hands clasped behind his back. Hearing footsteps, he glanced sideways, his tone icy. Yu Chan, it's no small feat to see you here. Where is my husband? Li Jian advanced toward me. He drew closer. I retreated, backing until my back pressed against the screen wall, with nowhere left to go. Yu Chan, is there nothing else you wish to ask? Like where this place is? Why I insisted on seeing you? How I've lived these past years? I pressed, Your Highness. Where is my husband? Su Lingyu is no corrupt official. Li Jian's expression darkened. He flung a stack of papers before me, densely covered with Su Lingyu's crimes. Embezzled 5,000 taels of grain transport silver. Precisely 5,000 taels, the funds earmarked for repairing the sluice gates. Each charge was laid out in stark detail. Su Lingyu bribed his superiors with 3,000 taels, purchased a scrawny horse, and took her as his concubine. I refused to believe it. I pointed out the flaws in the accusations. First, bribing superiors, where are the witnesses? Second, keeping a concubine is utter nonsense. I was ill those days, and Su Lingyu was by my side daily. He had no time for such things. These papers are insufficient for conviction. I knelt, Your Highness. I beg you to clear my husband's name. A long silence. So long that I thought Li Jian would never speak. He finally addressed me, his gaze condescending from above. Yu Chan, is Su Lingyu truly so exceptional that you kneel before me, pleading for him? I bowed my head, yes. Li Jian gripped my jaw forcefully, forcing me to look up at him. Yu Chan, pleading with me comes at a price. Can you give me what I desire? What does Li Jian want? I can clear Su Lingyu's name, spare him, promote him, even find him a virtuous wife and grant him several beautiful concubines. But the price is you. Yu Chan. Once this matter is settled, you will return to the capital with me. He wants me? Li Jian. You're mad. I lowered my head and bit into the fleshy part of his hand. He winced but refused to let go. If you refuse, you'll only watch Su Lingyu suffer an unjust imprisonment. Don't pity him, he merely touched someone he shouldn't have. Husband and wife are birds of a feather. Yet when calamity strikes, they fly apart. Yu Chan, you don't love him. I yanked out my hairpin and thrust it toward Li Jian, shoving him away. Straightening my back, I met his gaze. Su Lingyu loves me, so he can't bear to see me sacrifice myself for his safety. I love him, so I won't let him down. If you refuse, I'll find another way. If Su Lingyu dies, I'll go and bury myself with him. But Li Jian, you're truly despicable. I must escape this gilded cage. Yet the gates remain locked tight. Li Jian watches me coldly. Slowly, deliberately, he approaches. Yu Chan, I'm merely setting things right. Haven't you always adored the crown prince? Come. Li Jian confined me within the mansion, flooding me with treasures like flowing water. He kept me under strict watch, maidservants shadowing my every step. I tried to escape twice. Both times failed. At night, Li Jian sat boldly beside my bed. His fingertips brushed my long hair at the temple, tracing my cheek, jawline, and neck before pausing at the first button of my collar. I snapped awake, clamping his hand in mine. Li Jian. Moonlight washed his face, revealing a hint of weariness. His fingertips slipped from my palm to trace the back of my hand. Not pretending anymore? Didn't Yu Chan once vow to bear many children for Crown Prince brother? Now I'm fulfilling that promise. Why are you shying away? Li Jian was driving me mad. I raised my hand and slapped him. That was then. Li Jian. I'm married now. My husband's surname is Su. I will only bear Su Lingyu's children. You're the crown prince. You have so many women. If you want children, there are plenty willing to bear them for you. Go find them. Struck. Li Jian didn't grow angry, he smiled instead. I only want you. Bear my child. When I ascend the throne, you shall be empress. He will be crown prince. Every child in the harem will be born from your womb. Didn't you say this yourself? Yu Chan. You've forgotten. Yes. I forgot. I forgot which year it was when I visited my aunt in the palace and stumbled upon her weeping in secret. Li Jian took me outside. He said the empress and the emperor had a terrible fight because a concubine had miscarried. I was young and naive then. I said that when I married Li Jian, I would bear him many, many children, and they would never fight like that again. But later, Li Jian pushed me away from him with his own hands. Li Jian, 3 years ago during the imperial selection, you yourself accused me of disregarding palace regulations. You told me you only saw me as a sister. You caused my family to disown me and banish me to Jinling. Now, after so much hardship, I've finally found a worthy husband. I live vibrantly. I've found happiness. Why can't my brother bless and protect his sister? Why can't he watch her find fulfillment? Why must he tear me and Su Lingyu apart? In the dim, uncertain candlelight, Li Jian let out a soft laugh. Because I regret it. Yu Chan. I too believed I could treat you as a sister. After all, third brother covets the crown prince's position, and the imperial consort enjoys father's favor. Whether I married you or not, uncle would support me, but the grand tutor would not. I thought I could treat you as a sister, see you married off, and stand by you. But later I realized, Yu Chan, your happiness must come from me. You must not flatter any man but me. Your affection for him must not surpass mine. The one you should rely on wholeheartedly must be me. When exactly did the regret begin? Was it the wedding night, when I lifted your veil to see a fair face, yet felt only disappointment? Was it walking through the Eastern Palace, hearing someone call him Prince Brother in my mind, only to turn and find no one? Was it suddenly wanting to speak with her, only to be told by the Xia household she was out and hadn't returned, and then watching longing take root day by day? Li Jian didn't know. He watched Yu Chan's cold eyes, unmoved by all his confessions. 3 years ago, you abandoned me for power. 3 years later, you'd do the same. Without the grand tutor's daughter, there would be the general's sister, or a princess from a foreign land for a political marriage. To you, I could never measure up to power. Li Jian, stop lying. Li Jian lunged at me like a madman, desperate to kiss me. I stabbed wildly at him with my hairpin, not knowing where it landed. He grunted, blood seeping through his shoulder. Yu Chan, your heart is truly hard. Once, even the slightest injury to Li Jian would fill me with anguish. When he was ill, I wished I could take his place, bear all his suffering. But now, his wounds no longer sadden me. That night, Li Jian did not touch me. After several more days without seeing him, I feared Su Lingyu's worry would rob him of his appetite. So Li Jian came again. He too had grown noticeably thinner. Have a bowl of congee, he said. Then I'll take you to see him. I shoveled down a couple of spoonfuls haphazardly. Then I urged Li Jian to leave. In the carriage, I deliberately kept my distance from Li Jian. His gaze fell on me, and he opened his mouth but said nothing. Suddenly, the carriage jolted violently. I lost my balance and fell toward Li Jian. He caught me with one hand and ordered in a deep voice, "Change course. Head west." The carriage grew increasingly bumpy. Barely 2 steps later, a hail of arrows pierced the carriage. Li Jian swiftly drew the soft sword from his waist to block them. Seizing the moment, he flipped off the carriage, clutching me in his arms. Only then did I realize we were already in the outskirts. Black-clad figures appeared from all directions, closing in on Li Jian. Our guards were scattered, and he struggled to protect me, the burden left exposed. As a broadsword swung toward me, Li Jian lunged forward to block it. The blade ripped through his clothes, sliced open flesh, and exposed bone. Instinctively, I clung to his waist, my hand covered in sticky blood. Li Jian, let go of me. If you carry me, we'll both die. Li Jian's breathing grew noticeably heavy. He struggled to swing his sword, fighting while retreating with me in his arms. He joked, "If we die here today, it'll be a romantic death." "I won't die." Thwack. An arrow struck his back. I grabbed Li Jian, "Watch out." His pupils contracted as he threw himself on top of me. He rolled with me down the slope, tumbling past the black-clad assailants' blades and swords until we plunged over the cliff. The ravine was deep. Through the darkness, I faintly heard what seemed to be Li Jian's final words. "Yu-chan, I'm sorry. That bastard Li Jian. When I liked him, he never promised me anything, never said he liked me back. He just smiled and gazed at me from afar. But whenever something new arrived in the palace, I got my hands on it before the princesses did. When my mother fell ill, he stayed by my side for nights on end. I knew he was the crown prince. Bound by duty and ambition, he used to take me drinking with scholars from humble backgrounds, and we'd walk the capital streets at night." He sighed, "Yu-chan. Seeing them makes my blood boil. They are the pillars of the nation. Let them study in the Hanlin Academy for a few years, then hone their skills in the 6 ministries. Once we root out the corrupt officials, these will be my cabinet." I said, "Crown Prince brother will surely be a great emperor." Li Jian ruffled my hair and gave a bitter smile. When I first arrived in Jinling, I often dreamt of Li Jian late into the night. I couldn't understand why he treated me kindly if he didn't like me. Did he truly see me only as a sister? Years have passed, and I've come to grasp the essence of it all. A calculation of gains and losses. But the scorn was real. The expulsion from my clan was real. Being cast adrift in Jinling with only my maternal grandfather to care for me was real. Every hardship I endured was real. So, Li Jian, I will never forgive you. Surprisingly, neither Li Jian nor I died. When I awoke in the dead of night, Li Jian lay beside me. Blood drenched his body, his exhalations grew longer than his inhalations. For a moment, I considered stabbing him to death with my hairpin. Had he not framed Su Lingyu and seized me by force, I would never have suffered this undeserved calamity. But just as I raised my hand, Li Jian stirred. His voice was still weak, heavy with exhaustion. "Yu-chan, Su Lingyu is fine. The bone flute is in my left sleeve pocket. Play it, then hide it. Someone will come for you by tomorrow at the latest." I lowered the hairpin and felt inside his left sleeve pocket. Sure enough, I found a long, slender object. As I pulled out the bone flute, an old, worn-out sachet slipped out of the sleeve pocket. It was crookedly embroidered with a magnolia flower. I pretended not to see it, crushing it underfoot. Then I blew the bone flute. Li Jian watched me with indulgent, greedy eyes. He asked, "If I die, will you grieve?" I remained silent. He answered softly for himself, "Not anymore." Li Jian's prediction proved accurate. At the first light of dawn the next day, people came looking for him. Some looked familiar, likely officials from Jinling. They surrounded Li Jian. I didn't show myself. After all, a man and a woman alone together could easily be misunderstood. But someone sharp-eyed spotted me. He rushed over, grabbed me, and examined me repeatedly. Xiao Chan, are you okay? I looked at Su Lingyu and suddenly burst into tears. Su Lingyu, why did you take so long to come? I was scared to death. Su Lingyu gently patted my back. It's my fault. I didn't explain things clearly beforehand and made you worry. Let's go home now. What would you like to eat? Shall I make you a bowl of old duck soup? I want fish soup. Su Lingyu agreed. And only then did we notice the noisy greetings in the distance had stopped at some point. Li Jian looked over. This time, Madame Su has saved the day. She is rewarded with 1,000 acres of fertile land and 10,000 taels of gold. I owe you a promise. Later I learned Li Jian had come to Jinling to investigate tax evasion. Jiangnan was already a tax-heavy region. But even after the court implemented new taxes, Yingtian Prefecture still couldn't collect its share. After a long investigation, someone was finally caught red-handed. But Jinling's officialdom was a tightly knit circle, making it hard to find a breakthrough. That day, rain fell. A sudden craving for hot tea led him into a tea house. He lifted the curtain and reunited with me. I pressed Su Lingyu. When did you know he was the crown prince? And what of the embezzlement? It was the crown prince's scheme. Corruption ran rampant in Jinling's bureaucracy. The Minister of Revenue sought to sweep matters under the rug, offering up a scapegoat. The crown prince aimed to lull them into complacency, making them believe it was merely a formality, catch the embezzler and close the case. When I entered the prison, they tried to destroy the ledgers, but His Highness seized them. Unbeknownst to them, in their death throes, they attempted to assassinate His Highness, dragging you into this mess. I pounded Su Lingyu fiercely. You knew everything. You never told me anything. You kept me completely in the dark. Su Lingyu let me beat him obediently. When I grew tired, he massaged my wrists. As our eyes met, I suddenly recalled the strange question he'd once asked. Xiao Chan, was he the man you told me about before? Did you want to hand me over to Li Jian? What makes you think I'd just follow him? That I'm afraid of death? Afraid of being dragged down by you? Su Lingyu tried to speak, but I cut him off. I threw a pillow at him. Do you really think so little of me? Do I look like a woman who'd bow to power? You tell me nothing. How could you possibly know if I'd stand by you through thick and thin? You coward! I saw it back at the Queen Mother of the West's temple. You think you're magnanimous. But you're just afraid to fight for anything. Even me. You'd give up for Li Jian. Su Lingyu's eyes suddenly reddened, and the usually gentle man's breathing grew heavy. Xiao Chan, I never intended to force you to stay. I only wished to test whether you would remain of your own free will. Yes. You wanted my consent. But you never shared anything with me. How could you possibly know my heart? How could you know if I'd willingly stay for you? I pushed him away until he stumbled out the door. Let's divorce. News of my dispute with Su Lingyu over the divorce quickly spread. So much so that Li Jian heard about it on his journey back to the capital and sent Luo Luo over again. His Highness says if you ever regret your decision, you may return to the capital at any time. There will always be a place for you by his side. I refused immediately. No. Thank you. Luo Luo smiled. His Highness said if you wish to return, we'll depart immediately. If not, I'm to stay behind, just in case you change your mind someday. Only then did I realize Luo Luo wasn't Li Jian's concubine, but his secret guard. That day he brought Luo Luo aboard the ship to make me jealous. I pressed my hand to my forehead. But that day, why did you push me off the boat? Luo Luo looked surprised. Didn't Lord Su tell you? Tell me what? He seems to have made a wager with His Highness. When His Highness left, he said he'd honor the bet and told Lord Su to treat you well. Ah, he didn't mention it? That day on the boat, His Highness tried to play the hero and rescue the damsel in distress. But Lord Su was quicker. Don't underestimate him just because he's a scholar. He carried you ashore and was about to leave. scolding his highness all the while. Xiao Chan regarded you as a friend. Yet you belittled her and caused her to fall into the water. Is this how you treat your friends? Move aside. Li Jian did not move aside. Luo Luo said. Li Jian presented the crown prince's token to Su Lingyu, declaring, I am his wife, and demanding Su Lingyu hand me over. But Su Lingyu refused. He clutched me, drenched like a wet chicken, and declared to the crown prince, a wife is a partner. Xiao Chan is my wife. Yet she is not my possession. She shall remain wherever her heart chooses. This mild-mannered scholar showed his backbone only this once in his life. To His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. He took away his wife. But I won't forgive Su Lingyu so easily. The Jinling bureaucracy was shaken. Su Lingyu was promoted twice in quick succession. He worked his official duties by day at the magistrate's office. Then worked for me under the table at night. Working under the table, as the name implies, meant helping me manage accounts without pay. A superior once tried to gift him a concubine, remarking, your wife seemed so calm and gentle before. How come she's so temperamental now? A man must not lose his vigor. Hearing his virility questioned, Su Lingyu didn't seem angered. This is how she should be. You wouldn't know she was once a formidable young woman who endured much hardship. Life was tough for her, with so many troubles bottled up inside. Only when drunk did she dare to cry. She should stay this way, forever formidable, yet harmless. When Luo Luo relayed the message, she clicked her tongue twice. She whispered to me, I thought I could take you back to the capital to report. Li Jian was simmering old duck soup in the kitchen. The aroma made me retch. You may return. Take a letter to my father for me. Tell him his granddaughter was born. Have a safety lock made. As an unfilial daughter, I won't be returning to the capital to see them. Just then, Su Lingyu emerged carrying the old duck soup. He smiled. The soup's ready. Be careful not to burn yourself. Many years ago, I never imagined life would be like this now, the mundane necessities of daily life, the refined pursuits of art and culture. Now it feels just right. Half a year later, on a rainy day, I went into labor. The baby was a bit large. I labored for a day and night. Su Lingyu tried several times to burst into the room but was stopped. Let him come in, I yelled. Su Lingyu came in. I hadn't even cried yet. But he was already weeping. What a weakling. Heaven help me. I must bear a child who commands awe. In the end, I bit Su Lingyu's arm as I pushed the child out. It was a girl. Just as the infant's cry rang out, the dark clouds parted, and the sun rose in the east. The rain ceased. Su Lingyu pondered long and hard, then decided to name her Su Ji. Exhausted from childbirth, I found the name lacking in grandeur. But, whatever. Side story. Li Jian had often wondered, what if, during the imperial selection, he had resolutely walked toward Yuchan? With her temperament, as crown princess, her tail would have been in the air. Day after day. Crown prince brother this. Crown prince brother that. Would she blush when calling him husband? Li Jian dared not dwell on it. Only after returning to the capital and ordering a thorough investigation did he learn what Yuchan had endured after failing the selection. But at that time, he couldn't spare a single thought for her. The crown prince's consort came from a distinguished family, and the grand tutor had countless disciples. He needed the support of such an alliance. He had no other choice. His mother had told him, you are the crown prince of the Eastern Palace, the future son of heaven. You must understand what you can and cannot do. Yes. He understood. So during the selection, he chose some flimsy excuse to abandon Yuchan. When she confronted him, he claimed she was merely a sister to him. He saw her heart break, yet paid it no mind, until his ascension. But before he could ascend, she vanished from the capital. The crown princess was sharp, she always reminded him who he was. Just when he sought to withdraw and search for her. Over time, Li Jian came to believe he had truly forgotten Yuchan. Why reunite? Thankfully, he encountered her again. Two thoughts intertwined. Li Jian thought he should have been the flawless crown prince. Had he never seen her, he could have continued doing what he was meant to do. Instead, he tossed and turned, his thoughts consumed by her day and night. Yuchan. That name had rolled over Li Jian's lips countless times. So she had married to a minor magistrate. This man had revealed himself in just a few words, a stubborn stone incapable of adaptation. Though learned, he held no real influence. How could she have chosen such a man? She would rather marry a man like that than walk with him. Li Jian wanted to bring Yuchan back to the capital. Since she had been disowned by the Xie family, he could arrange a new status for her. The position of principal consort was already taken, she could serve as a secondary consort for now. In short, she must return to his side. But Yuchan refused. She had changed. He thought she had merely restrained her temper and ceased her capriciousness. No. She simply no longer loved him. No longer felt pain for him. Li Jian intended to force Su Lingzhu to step aside. But this stubborn rock refused. He even argued that with the court's uncertain situation, His Highness forcibly taking another man's wife would surely give the third prince leverage. Li Jian countered, Yuchan is my lawful wife. Taking her with me is no abduction. How long can you possibly keep her? Thus, the wager was made. Su Lingyu would feign corruption to be arrested, serving as the breakthrough. The wager was that Yuchan's fate would be decided by her own will. Li Jian spent 3 days proving one thing. Yuchan hated him. A sudden heaviness pressed on his chest. Rising to push open the window, he saw magnolias blooming outside. He recalled the letter Luo Luo had delivered. Yuchan was pregnant. Truthfully, during the selection that day, Yuchan had dressed exquisitely. Her eyes had sparkled as she looked at him. Among all the noble ladies, he had spotted her at first glance. He had seen the magnolia blossom in her hairpin. Truthfully, magnolias were his favorite flowers. The end.